What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effect. My name is Luke, and I'll be teaching the class today. So today's class is going to be a little bit different. Instead of doing, say, shoulder internal or external rotation or focusing on one specific joint, we're going to be going through the entire body, working from the neck all the way down to the toes, working through our cars, working through what we call quarter cars, half cars, or capsule cars, and just really getting a better understanding of our body, of our cars, of how our body moves, and then working into what's called sticky zones, which just may be a little bit tighter, more restricted areas of our cars. So before we get into it, I just kind of want to give you some background into when you would do this type of stuff. So this would be a great standalone routine that you could do on a recovery day. You could do it in the morning before you go out and do any physical activity that you do. You could take bits and pieces and focus on specific joints that you may need to pay a little bit more attention to. You could do just the shoulder work before you do an upper body workout. You can really pull bits and pieces out to really focus on what you need to work on the most, because really what cars are a representation of the workspace. Say in this case would be my shoulder workspace, which is indicative of the capsular space of that joint. So cars is a really good way for us to get a good feel for how our body's moving on each particular day, but then it's also a great way to gain more control of the space that we have. Okay, so we're going to just be going from our neck, we're going to work all the way down to our toes, going piece by piece. We'll do some full cars, then we'll do some half cars, we'll do some quarter cars, and then we'll really just kind of get a better understanding of how our body feels, how our body functions, and the control and the capacity that we have at each joint. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to start, you can start in collapse kneeling. That's just sitting on your heels. If you don't have that mobility in your ankles or your knees, you can always come up to what's called the tall kneeling position, where you're just tucking your tailbone under you, keeping the body nice and straight. You can have your feet flat, or you can tuck them under you. Really whatever is most comfortable for you and allows you to get in the best position to get the best possible representation of your cars. Okay, so the first one we're going to start with is a quarter car for the cervical spine. So I'm going to start with my arms at my sides. I'm going to make fists with my hands. I'm going to think punch down towards the ground, right? So I'm going to think knuckles towards the floor. That just keeps me out of that shrug position as I move through my cervical spine. What you'll notice is a lot of times as we work through the cervical car, you're going to want to shrug up. So we're actively reaching down towards the ground. You can even go, if you're up in the tall kneeling position, you can be open palm, shoulders back and down, just to keep us actively out of that shrug position. Okay, so I will start in the collapse kneeling. I'm going to have my knuckles to the floor, shoulders locked down. I'm just going to start with a quarter car for cervical spine. So that's just going to start with a neck flexion, right? So I'm putting my chin to my chest, and I'm just going to rotate chin to one collarbone, and then rotate back to the center. I'm going to go one more on that side. Rotate chin to the collarbone. You can peek over the blind spot. Just get as much rotation as you can, and then back to the center. And switch, I'm going to go to the left. Chin to the collarbone, rotate to one side, peek over the blind spot, rotate back to the center. One more time. Chin to the collarbone, look over the blind spot, and then back to the center. So if you're looking at your neck rotation as 360 degrees, that is the first quarter of that motion. Okay, so we'll progress into our half cars for cervical spine. So that will be chin to the collarbone, and then I'm going to take my ear over the shoulder, chin to the sky, drop my chin back to the collarbone, back to the center. So you want to imagine as you rotate, look over the blind spot, imagine you got water in your ear, you're trying to pour the water out over your shoulder, chin down to the collarbone, rotate back to the center. We'll reverse to the other side. So the shoulder's still engaged, locked in, core's engaged, chin to the collarbone, pour the water out over your left shoulder, chin back down to the collarbone, rotate to the center. One more time, chin to the collarbone, pour the water out over your left shoulder, chin back down to the collarbone, and then back to the center. So you may notice that one side moves a little bit better than the other. That's okay. You just want to make sure that we're not moving into any pain or any pinching, and then just take note of how your body feels. So when you do your full cars, which we're about to do right now, you know what to pay more attention to, and then you know what to put more effort into or more time into when you're doing these on your own. Okay, so let's go back down from the 2 full cars. Let's go to the right, 2 to the left, shoulders engaged, reaching down towards the floor. I'm gonna take the chin to collarbone. You will pour the water out of my right shoulder. Rotate chin to the sky. Over the top, pour the water out of my left shoulder. Drop the chin. Rotate to the center. One more time there. Rotate chin to collarbone. Ear over my shoulder. Chin to the sky. Over my left shoulder. Drop that chin. Back through the middle. And then let's reverse. Row 2 to the left. Chin to the collarbone. Ear over my left shoulder. Rotate chin to the sky. We're not shrugging as we do so, right? Keep reaching down. Right ear over my right shoulder. Drop my chin to my collarbone. Chin to the chest. Last one. Left collarbone. Left ear over left shoulder. Chin to the sky. Right ear over right shoulder. Right collarbone. Back through the center. Okay, so that was our quarter cars, half cars, and full cars for our cervical spine. So now we'll move on to what's called tall kneeling thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine for a lot of people is the one that can be the most confusing. So we're just gonna go through really nice and slow. The same thing we did for the cervical spine. So we'll do quarter cars, half cars, and then our full cars. Okay, so in this position here, if you have a block, if you want to use a yoga block, you can take it from its side here and you can squeeze the block between your knees. That will just give you a little bit more pelvic control there. You can definitely go wider as well. So the wider base we have, the more stability you'll feel. So you're just going to continue to squeeze that block in while we squeeze our glutes forward and keep that ribs down position. So we're not moving from anywhere from about the rib cage down, right? So rib cage up is where we're going to be getting a lot of that motion from. So if you have a block, you can go ahead and use it. If you don't, that's totally okay. You can just keep this same position here. The wider your base, the more stability you'll feel. The more narrow your base, the less stability you'll feel. Okay, so I'm gonna be up in my tall kneeling position. I'll do a couple with the block, a couple without the block, and then we'll just kind of get different positions here. So start with my quarter cars. So I'm gonna take my arms across my body and make fists. You can do this a couple different ways. You can cross the arms here with fists. You can grab your shoulders there, or if you want, you can wrap your arms all the way around your body. They're all good, they all work well. It's just whatever you prefer, whatever you feel like you get a little bit more control with. Okay, so I'm gonna start just arms crossed here, nice and tight. Think, squeeze your elbows to your ribs as you fold down just at the thoracic spine. So I'll do this from the side here. So I'm locked in my hips and I'm just folding at the upper back. I don't wanna come back so far that my hips go back, right? Pull down into your thoracic flexion. And then just like we did the cervical spine, I'm gonna do quarter cars. So pulling down, quarter rotation, come back to the center. I wanna make sure that my hips aren't moving, nothing else is moving except these shoulders. I'm gonna go the other way now. Rotate back to the center. That's one each way. Quarter car, rotate. Center, last one, stay tight, rotate, and then back to the center. Okay, so next one I'm gonna throw a block between my legs just to get another different feel for it. So I'm just gonna go wide block there. Glutes are engaged, legs are squeezing into that block. I'm gonna go half car, which will be my flexion, rotation, and lateral flexion. Rotate back to the center, go the other way. Rotation, lateral flexion, squeeze out as much as you can without your whole body going along for the ride, just the thoracic spine. And then I'm just gonna pull those elbows back in, rotate the other way, as far as I can go without those hips moving, keep squeezing the block. Bend to that side, get some lateral flexion on the right. From here, pull my elbows in, rotate to the center, rotate to the left, bend on that left side. Back through the middle, get a good stretch on that upper back, and shake it out. Okay, so that's just giving us some awareness for rotation, lateral flexion. Okay, let's move into a full T-spine car. So I'm squeezing that block. Again, you can squeeze it here, you can squeeze it sideways there, or you can even turn it this way to give you more narrow base, but still get a good squeeze through the adductors, give you some stability through the pelvis. Okay, two full T-spine cars. So let's go here. I did this one first. So just get just a different feel. You grab the shoulders, chin stays in the chest the whole time. Squeeze the glutes forward like a glute bridge. Pull my elbows to my ribs. Rotate to my right as far as I can go without anything else going on to the right. Bend to that side. From here, I'm gonna get tall. I don't want to lean back. I want to get tall as I can be with my elbows in, my chin on my chest. As I rotate over the top, I'm gonna bend on this side here. Take my top shoulder, rotate across to my opposite hip. And I'll rotate back through the center. I'm just gonna tick-tock back and forth, 2 each way. I'm gonna rotate to my left, bend on my left, get tall over the top, chin stays in my chest, get some thoracic extension, upper back, as I flex to my right, left shoulder, rotates to my right hip, rotate back through the center. Okay, I'm gonna do another 1 rep each side from the side, just so you guys can get a different view of how it's looking here. So I'm gonna go wide block there. Squeeze in, my glutes are squeezing forward, ribs are down, body's tight. I'm gonna go full wrap around the body here. Chin to my chest. Rotate to the left. Bend to the left. Get tall as I come over the top. Okay, I'm getting tall here, but I don't want to lean back this way, and I don't want to arch aggressively through my lower back. Okay, so I'm here, tall over the top. Bend to that right side, take my left shoulder across, rotate back through. One more time, let's go the other way. Rotate to the right, bend to the right, extend and get tall over the top. Keep squeezing the block, bend to my left, take my right shoulder across, rotate back through the center. Okay, so that was cervical spine, thoracic spine. It should be nice and loose at the top by now. Okay, we'll move into what's called collapse kneeling scapular cars. Okay, so we're gonna break these down a little bit into their component parts, and then we'll kind of put them all together at the end. Okay, so we're gonna start, again, if you have a block, you can use it to just lock yourself in place here. If you don't, it's totally cool. We're gonna make fists, come straight out the side. I'll do it from the side so you can kind of see what we're doing. We're gonna go protraction, retraction. So let's take my shoulder blades, arms are locked out, and I'm just gonna protract, which means I'm gonna reach forward, shoulder blades wrap around the body this way, and I'm gonna retract, squeeze my shoulder blades together as I try to pull straight back. Okay, that's 1. We're gonna go 2 each way. Protract forward, reach, try to get a little more without the spine pressing through. Got our head pressing forward, we're just trying to get as much reach from the shoulder blades as we can, and then we're going to retract. Take those shoulder blades, pull them together, but without the elbows bending. You're going to want to bend here, so just take those shoulder blades, lock them in, and as we pull, try to squeeze those shoulder blades together, get a good retraction squeeze, and then come back to center. I'll turn again here, so now we're going to go elevation depression, it's called. So I'm locked in here. I'm just gonna take those shoulders, squeeze up to my ears. After shrugging, and I'm gonna depress the shoulder blades. This means I'm gonna pull them down nice and low. You should feel kind of like some under armpit squeeze there. As I pull down and squeeze, we're gonna go 1 more. Pull up. And pull down. Okay. We're gonna do some half cars. So I'll do it with the block. If you have a block, you can use this. You don't have to. We're gonna go half cars here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna protract. So I'm locked in here, elbows locked out, using the block just for some tension. I'm gonna protract. I'm gonna shrug up, and I'm gonna retract. I'm gonna shrug up, protract, and depress. So let's go 2 there, think over, and back over. So think you're kind of making a C with your shoulder blades first. Reaching forward, rounding out over the top, stopping halfway, shrugging up, reaching out, and pulling down at the bottom. Okay, so that was the first half. We'll go second half now. Same thing. Pull back and down, squeeze together, pull up to the top, and then reverse, pull back and down, round it out at the bottom. We'll stay locked out. This is a fight here. If you got the block, it's good. This is what we need to really isolate our shoulder blades up, pull back, make the C with the shoulder blades, and down. So that was half cars each direction. Now we're gonna go full scapular cars here. So I'll stay on the side just so you can see. Again, if it's getting uncomfortable, you wanna come to a tall kneeling position, you can do that as well. I'll do it from this position so you can just get a feel. You can tuck or untuck, whatever you prefer, whatever's most comfortable. Play around with it. We need to work on all positions anyway, so you might as well get some practice, different positions here. Elbows locked out. Let's go 2 full cars each position, right? So squeeze the glutes. If you want to squeeze the block between your legs, you can. Core is engaged. I'm going to reach forward, shrug up, pull back. I'm going to round it out as I come back and squeeze around the bottom. Come forward, up, squeeze back, and down, and reverse. Back and down, squeeze together as I come up, over the top. And one more rep, come back and down, squeeze together, squeeze up, over, forward, and down. Okay, that's 2 full scapular cars each direction. Now we'll get into our collapsed kneeling shoulder cars. So the shoulder cars, because our shoulders and our hips are ball and socket joints, right? They have the most overall workspace. Usually most people need to spend the most time working on the shoulders and the hips because they have so much motion and they have so many options and variations for where they can go and what they can do. Okay, so we're gonna start just our straight arm capsule cars. Okay, so we're just gonna get a feel for internal, external rotation here. So I'm gonna make fists. If you want, you can go open palm, that's okay too. Let's make fists here to help with tension. And I'm gonna go 3 rotations. So we think internal rotation, it's called a capsule car, or an axial rotation. Open up, try to squeeze out a little bit more. Back to internal rotation. So we wanna rotate as far as we can. Imagine you've got like an X on your bicep, but we don't wanna go so far that now I'm starting to shrug. Right, that would be losing the position of my scapula, which we just worked on, right? So I'm just really focusing on just rotation of my bicep or of my humerus, right? So my upper arm, head of my humerus is rotating in the shoulder capsule. Okay, this is a good one to do before you do shoulder cars, after you do shoulder cars, you do shoulder pails and rails, you do any before or after any upper body lifting. The more rotation we can get in those joints, the better, okay? That was straight arm. Let's go bent arm now. So with the bent arm, we're about 90 degrees. We want to make sure the shoulders are straight out from the side of the body, okay? We can definitely do them forward. We can definitely do them slightly behind, but for now, we'll just do them straight out from the side of the body. Elbows at 90 degrees. Make fists. We're gonna go 3 rotations. So think ribs down, core's engaged. And as I rotate down, again, as much internal rotation as I can before I let my body shrug up. Okay, don't lose that position. Internal rotation, external rotation, drive back. Try to take those hands as I externally rotate. I'm trying to take them here, back, behind my body, behind my head. Let's go 2 more rotations there. Internal rotation, external rotation, good. Internal rotation, external rotation. Squeeze it out, fight for a little bit more each time, and shake them out. Okay? Next, what we're gonna do is our full shoulder cars. So we'll do 2 full shoulder cars, and then we're gonna find what's called a sticky zone. So for most people with their shoulder car, it's about right here. But everybody's body is a little bit different. So if you feel, as we work through these cars, what you feel like is the most restricted, the most tight, we're just gonna spend and do some more capsule cars at that position. Okay, so let's go 2 right arm shoulder cars first. So I'm gonna go left hand on my rib cage. I'm gonna keep my ribs down as I work through this position. Because what you'll do is as you go into flexion, this position here, your body's gonna wanna help you out by arching your lower back. So we wanna make sure that the spine is not taking the place for what a shoulder should be doing. Ribs are down, core is engaged. I take my right arm, palm is out to external rotation. I'm gonna keep my elbow straight as I abduct, which is coming across the midline of the body. Palm is up, scrape the eyebrow, scrape the ear, as I come over the top. And now again, right, just like we did those capsule cars, trying to rotate over the top as much as I can. Keep trying to turn that arm over, keep that X on that bicep rotating as I come all the way down. And pause. Now reverse. Come back, thumb comes high into extension as I come over the top. Scrape the ear, scrape the eyebrow, scrape across the body as I come down to the bottom position. Reset, re-engage, core stays tight. One more adduction as I come across. Over the top, really rotate here while we rotate through the shoulder. Over the top and stop. Reverse, last one, thumb comes high. Over the top. And past the eyebrow. And cross back to your start position. So like I said, we're gonna do some axials from your sticky zone. So whatever you felt within that zone you need to pay a little bit more attention to. We're gonna take just 3 reps of axial cars, trying to really wring out as much rotation as we can in the areas. You can even go up here, or if you need to be back here, whatever you feel like you need more of. Very nice. Let's go and switch to the left. So we're going to go 2 on the left arm. So we're going to go right arm crosses the body. Grab that rib cage, just remind us to stay tight. I'll do these from a tall kneeling position, just so you can get some variation. Again, if you want to squeeze the block, you can. Take it left arm out. Ribs are down, glutes are tight. Cross the body, elbow locked out, palm is up. Cross the eyebrow, cross the ear, over the top. Rotate that bicep, just like the capsule cars we did. And back your hand touches. I'm going to reverse. Thumb goes high, over the top. Bring out as much rotation as you can. Cross the eyebrow, cross the body. Palm is up into supination as I rotate back to the center. Palm faces out, ribs are down. Reset as I go through one more rep. Cross the body, cross the eyebrow, cross the ear. Rotate as much as you can, not only at the arm, but also at the shoulder as I try to get as much rotation as I can without rotating the chest. Back of my hand touches, reverse, thumb goes high. Rotate out as much as possible into external rotation. Cross the body, cross over, back to your start position. So just like we did on the other side, find your sticky zone within this motion here, and then let's just get 3 axial rotations in that position. Squeeze out a little more, and a little bit more here, and finish that rep. Back to your start. Very nice. Those neck, T-spine, scapula, and shoulder. Okay, so this next one we're going to get into is our elbows. Okay, so the elbows will be a little bit quicker. So you can do collapsed kneeling, tall kneeling, same ones that we did. So we're just going to go for the elbow. We always think about the elbow as a what's called a hinge joint, which can move up and down, but we also don't think that our elbow can actually rotate. So when you hear about golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, it's usually that the people that said their elbows cannot rotate quite enough. They don't have enough space in their elbow capsule. So as more force is being put into that tissue, eventually start to be kind of shown as pain. Right, so we're just going to start inside of our elbows on the rib cage. Okay, try to keep them here. That just keeps us honest. Make shoulders just back and nice in place. And I'm going to come up like I'm doing a bicep curl, but instead of just coming straight up this way, I want to rotate my hands out into what's called supination. as much as I can, so my palms are facing away from my body. And then I'm just gonna pronate, rotate in, and press down. So rotate up the bottom again, as much out as I can. Curl up, turn the palms away, pronate, and then come down. So we'll just stay down here now, we're gonna go the other way. So as I come up this way, I'm gonna curl up, I'm trying to pronate, rotate, let's just come back into pronation, and down. Reverse one more time, come up, supinate, pronate, and down. So just like our shoulder, we have capsule cars for the elbow. So this is a lot similar, just because all we're doing is we're rotating here. So just think elbows on rib cage. We're gonna go 2 capsule cars, trying to bring out as much rotation as we can without the elbows coming off the body. Rotation there. Let's come up to 90 degrees, and then we're just think elbows stay on the rib cage. Pronate as much as we can. Supinate as much as we can. We're trying to turn those palms out. One more each way. Pronate. Supinate, squeeze it. Last one, we're coming up into full elbow flexion. Like you're doing a bicep curl. You can even make fists here if you like. And I'm just going to think elbows stay in. Pronate, squeeze out as much as you can. Supinate, rotate out as much as possible. Really try to create tension through the biceps here. One more each way. Pronation, turn those palms over, facing forward, and rotate out as much as possible. So of course you can always do these one arm at a time. If that helps you just kind of focus more on what's going on. For the sake of time, we're doing both of these together, which works of course. Okay, so next one is our wrist. For the wrist, I'll come up with the tall knee in here. So again, you could do these one arm at a time, and usually this is something that, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging to make sure that we do it at the same time as we do both wrists together. So if you do feel like you need to do one at a time, you can just pause the video, focus on one wrist here, and then switch, focus on the other wrist. For now, we're just gonna go both wrists together. So imagine that I'm balancing, say, a cup of coffee or my phone on the top of my forearm here. So as I rotate through wrist cars, I'm not turning the forearm over and dumping out that cup of coffee, right? So I'm gonna stay nice and tall, elbows into my rib cage, forearms are looking straight up. We're gonna go through full cars first, and then we'll go through capsule cars and half cars. So palms are up. I'm gonna think pinkies come towards the midline of the body. I'm gonna rotate into extension. So that means my palms will be facing out as I pull my hands towards my forearms, out away from the midlines. That's called abduction. Flex those wrists without trying not to bend the fingers, without turning the forearms over. Keep forearms straight up and down. Let's go one more that direction. Out, away. So as this motion here, a lot of people are going to want to turn over. So really make sure everything stays up. Flex at the wrist and back down to start position and reverse. Come together, flex the wrists, come out, forearms stay up, extend, pinkies together, flex, extend, and down. Yeah, a little burn there if you've never done this before. It's totally okay. So we're gonna do our half cars. So half cars would just be the same motion here, and we're just gonna come in, extend, back in, and flex. Come in, extend, come back in, and flex. Okay, let's reverse this, go the other way. So I'm gonna go out, extend, come back out, and flex. Last one, come out, extend, back out, and go all the way around the top. Okay, last one is just capsule cars. It's super simple. All we're gonna do is just say same thing, straight up and down. Pinkies will come in towards the midline of the body. Thumbs will go out towards the outside of the body. Let's just go back and forth, Start there, good. Do the same ones from flexion, in, out, in, out. Last one, let's go to extension. Should be burning right now. Out, in, out, and in. So that's one, if you find yourself on a computer typing a lot, using a lot of wrist heavy activities, that's one. The more rotation you can build into your daily routine, the better you're going to feel, the better everything will kind of function as you do, typing, any really activity that you do with your wrist, which is all of us, right? So next one, we're going to go into our hips. So the hip cars, we're going to do from a sideline position. Okay, so if you have a yoga block, you can use it as kind of like a pillow, somewhere to rest your head. So we're going to go 2 hip cars, and then we're going to do some axial cars, some capsule cars from that position, and then we're going to do some capsule cars from a supine or a laying on your back position. Okay, so I'm going to take one block here. You can rest your head there, or you can rest nice and tall. So think shoulders are stacked. I'm going to have my knees at about 90 degrees. If you want to use this block, it can help you give some tension there. If you don't have another block, you can always press your arms together. You can take this hand if you don't have blocks, and you can use it as a pillow. Take the top hand, press down into the floor. Since I'm assuming a lot of us may not have blocks, I'm just going to go with this position here. So legs are stacked, about 90 degrees, top hand presses down. I'm going to take top knee, top hip into flexion. I'm going to open up as much as I can without rolling over, right? So think top hand stays pressing the floor. I'm going to rotate my top heel back away from my body. I'm going to get into as much extension as I can as I come back, reach back with that hip and that heel. And then I will rotate through the center. I'm going to reverse. So I'm going to think heel drives back and do what's called extension without my spine extending, right? So think stay engaged to the core. I'm going to lift, so I'm going to abduct that knee as I come over the top, through, back to my start position. Let's go one more there. I'm coming up, open, heel drives back behind me, so that's internal hip rotation, over the top, around, and through. Last half. Heel drives back, hip into extension, lift that knee, over the top, and come through, control back into my start position. So we'll do our axial cars, our capsule cars from what's called flexion, abduction. So we're just right here. I'm just gonna go 2 reps. I'm gonna rotate my heel back like we did as much as I can. And then I come do external rotation, which trying to keep my leg here. I'm just gonna try to take my heel towards the front of my body. 1 more rep there, knee stays still. Internal rotation, drive that heel back. Make sure the body doesn't open, keep that bottom leg pressed down to the floor. Last one, external rotation, and back to the start. Let's go switch sides. Sideline hip carves can be new for a lot of people, so if that's one that you've never done before, the more practice you do, the better, right? So think bottom arm, pressing the floor with my pillow, knees at about 90 degrees, top hand presses into the floor for a little stability. Brace that core, take a breath in, pack the air down, get nice and tight. I'm gonna take my top hip into flexion, abduction, take hip internal rotation, so my heel drives back, my femur rotates in as I come over the top to extension, swing through to my start position and reverse, heel drives back, hip opens up, back to my start position, and through. 1 more time, flexion, abduction, internal rotation, heel drives back behind me, squeeze out a little bit more on the second rep, back to the start, reset, back to heel back, over the top, come through, and down. So just like we do on the other side, come up into flexion, abduction, and we're just going to do axial rotations here. So the knee stays still, body stays tight. I'm just rotating heel back behind my body, and heel forward in front of the body. That's external rotation. Femur rotates out. Internal rotation. Femur rotates in. Last one. Squeeze it. Always trying to fight for as much range as we can, as much as we control without the rest of the body going along for the ride. Okay. Nice. Next one, we'll finish up the hips with hip internal external rotation capsule cars from a supine position, which is pretty much means we're laying on our back. So I'm going to lay on my back here. I'm going to take one leg straight, one leg up into 90 degrees, and I'm just going to work capsule cars as I rotate. External rotation, trying to take my left heel to my right shoulder, back to center. Now internal rotation, left heel to left shoulder. Let's do 3 reps each position. Get to your end, fight for a little bit more range, feel that inner thigh on the external rotation. As you go into internal rotation, you'll feel that upper outer hip. Squeeze it, fight for a little bit more. We got 1 more each way. External rotation, back to center. Internal rotation, try to fight for a little bit more, make that hip cramp. Back in and switch. Other leg, 90 degrees. Arms into the floor for stability, back flat. Rotate right heel to left shoulder. Back to center. Right heel to right shoulder. Fight for a little bit more range. That's 1. We got 2 more there. Left heel, left shoulder. Back in, right heel, left shoulder. Now right heel, right shoulder. Squeeze it, fight it, drive for more. You want to take your hand, you can hold the leg in place. Just to make sure that knee is staying straight up and down. External rotation, back in, last one. Internal rotation, fight for a little bit more, squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. And good. Okay, so that is our hip cars. We did sideline hip cars, sideline capsule cars, and then we did our supine, or our lying on your back, capsule cars for internal and external rotation. Next one is our spine cars, or what we call segmental cat-cow. So this is one that if you're sitting a lot, if this one you find yourself tight in the morning, this would be the best one to do to kind of get your day started. The spine houses the nervous system. The healthier our spine, the healthier everything else is going to feel, right? So we're just going to go 2 reps up and down, and then we'll do some thoracic focused and lumbar focused cat-cow. So I'll be up in this position here, so it's called quadruped. I'll be on my hands and knees, hips over the knees, shoulders over the wrists. I'm going to go up into full flexion, so I'm trying to tuck my tailbone under me, grab my back to the sky, pull my chin to my chest, and the segmental part of it just means I'm going to go through into extension 1 segment at a time, okay? So I think start in flexion, untuck the tailbone, move up into the lower back, move up into the mid-back, 1 vertebrae at a time as I go up into chest, upper back, collarbone, and cervical spine. I'm going to start at the tailbone again. I'm going to tuck that tailbone under me, create as much flexion as I can. Everything else stays up. As I move up the back into flexion, cervical flexion, and down. 1 more there. So I'm going to start at the tailbone again. Untuck the tailbone. Untuck the lumbar spine, TL junction, mid-back, upper back, lift the collarbone, cervical spine, squeeze a little bit more, 1 more, lumbar, all the way up the back, 1 vertebrae at a time, squeeze it out. Flexion. Okay, next one, go into our, it's called thoracic focused, which just means we're going to block the lumbar spine by sitting on our heels and have our arms out, just like this. All we're going to do is the same thing, cat-cow, for the upper back. So from here, I'm going to think, round out that upper back as much as I can, pull the chin to my chest, and then think, starting at the lower spine, going to extend through the chest, pull, try to round out that upper back into that reverse U, or the U position. That's our extension. And now let's pull chin to chest. Slowly work back into thoracic or upper back flexion. And one more time. Lower upper spine into extension. Look tall, think stick the chest out, lift the collarbone, lift the cervical spine, and relax. Okay, so it's upper back. If you find yourself sitting at a computer, sitting at a desk, that's going to be huge for you. Next one is our lumbar focused. So we're going to get in that quadruped position again, and now you'll just drop your head between the arms. You're just going to rest your forearms here. So you'll be in this kind of position here. So we're just going to focus on the lower back. Okay, so same thing as we did the cat-cow. I'm going to tuck my tailbone, try to round out my lumbar spine as much as I can. As much round there as you possibly can. Then start at the tailbone again. I'm going to untuck and try to create as much arch or extension at the lumbar spine as I can. Okay, squeeze back a little bit more. One more time. Start at the tailbone. Tuck that tailbone under you. Drive up into as much lumbar flexion as you can. Squeeze for a little bit more. Let those abs work. Last one. Untuck the tailbone. Lumbar extension as I try to arch that back a little bit more this time. And relax. Okay, so that's lumbar focused cat-cow. Next one we're going to work into is our kneecaps. So with the kneecaps, all we're going to be doing, super simple, just make sure the leg is relaxed. You're going to take 4 fingers or 5 fingers or even all 10, and you're just going to find the outline of that kneecap there. All we're going to do is work into up and down, moving that kneecap. And then we'll move side to side, so we're just trying to see where it moves well, where it doesn't move well. You may get some crunchy in the kneecap, that's okay. I get it as I move down a little bit. I'm trying to make sure we're not going too hard, we're not pressing down too hard, but create enough pressure where you can grab the kneecap and not just the skin, right? So I'm gonna go around, I'm just gonna create 2 clockwise circles with the kneecap around, and then 2 counterclockwise circles with that kneecap. Just make sure we get good pocket of motion on that kneecap. We'll go and switch. Make sure that leg is relaxed. Okay, we're just going to find that kneecap again, outline it with your fingers. We're going to go into move it down, move it up, move it down, move it up, back to the center, go side to side, side, side. Last one, find the outline. You can grab all 10 fingers if you want. We're gonna go 2 clockwise. Find where it moves well, find where it doesn't. You may get more crunchy on one knee than the other, it's okay. As long as it's not painful, the more you do these, the more you'll start to smooth that out. And relax, okay? Next one is our tibia, or our knee. So just like our elbow, we don't always think that it can rotate, but your knee can actually rotate. It actually has to rotate, but for a lot of people, it doesn't rotate, and that's what's going to leave us susceptible to injury. Okay, so this one, we're going to start just heel into the floor. I'm just going to grab sides of my tibia here, so it's called the spine of my tibia, which is just the top part that kind of sticks out. As you'll see on my leg here, this part will move, so you'll be able to tell where I'm getting that rotation from. So I'm just going to grab the tibia, and I just want to work external rotation, internal rotation. So you can actively do it on your own, but if this is the first time doing it, using your arm to rotate the tibia with the heel on the floor for now will help just give us a good awareness of actual how much rotation we have. Okay, right there. So now let's do a full tibia cars. So we're going to hook left arm under my left knee. I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to grab my top of my femur. That just helps make sure that my femur is not rotating. My left arm, my left hand will grab my right bicep. So I'm just like this, right? So I'm putting my leg in a headlock, and I'm going to rotate out. So if this is the first time doing it, you can take this hand here, rotate out, extend, rotate in, and flex. One more there, rotate out, extend, rotate in, and flex. Go the other way, so we're rotated in. I'm going to extend, rotate out, flex, rotate in, extend, rotate out, and flex. That's our tibia rotations there. So you can even do here, you can do capsule cars. This position here, elevated there. You can go capsule cars about 90 degrees, rotate out, rotate in, rotate out. You can go not to full extension, you won't be able to rotate at extension, at full extension, but you can come up into a little bit higher position, and then you can work on rotation from there. The higher you extend that knee, the less rotation you're gonna have. So it's good to work on from all positions. Just bear in mind, it'll be tougher the more you extend the knee. Okay, so next one, we'll go to the other leg. I'm just gonna have heel to the floor. I'm gonna rotate tibia out. Use my hand, but also actively guide it out, okay? And then rotate in. So tibia rotates in. Right here, you see that rotation at the top of my knee. Rotates out. Rotates in, so that was heel in the floor. What we call axial rotations for internal and external rotation. Now I'm gonna take my right arm under my right leg, hook it under. My left leg can just fold across the body, or we can just be straight out, whatever's most comfortable for you. And then you're gonna hook under. You can hook the hand here. You can grab the bicep, you can grab the tibia, and let's just go into external rotation, extension, internal rotation, flexion. External rotation, extension, internal rotation, flexion, and reverse. Internal rotation, extension, external rotation, flexion. One more here, so you can hook there. Internal rotation, extension, external rotation, flexion, and then again you can use some capsule cars there, so you can work on getting some motion in that tibia actively. Just remember, if this is the first time doing it, you may not be able to just do it actively. It's taken a lot of practice to be able to just work on it on its own, without using the hand. Just bear in mind, the more you extend, the harder it's going to be. Okay, almost there. We've got ankles and toes. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is our ankle capsule car. So I'll scoot back so you can see what my ankle's doing here. So I will throw my left calf on top of the side of my right foot. I will hold, this leg will be straight, but I'm going to hold my femur to make sure that I'm not rotating this way as I work through my ankle cars. Okay, so I'm going to hook, step nice and tall. I'm going to point my toe and do what's called plantar flexion. And I'm going to rotate into internal rotation, flexion while I'm in, dorsiflexion, rotate out, and point down. One more that direction, trying to create the biggest possible circle, like I have a pen on my big toe, trying to draw a nice clean circle, and reverse, go out, up, and over the top, squeeze in, back to the center. Let's go one more there, just because everybody needs more ankle cars, back to the center. So we have capsule cars from this position here. So you just point the toe, go in and out. You're gonna have less rotation going out than you do in, that's okay. And out, so you can do it from there. You can do it from half up position there. Working in, nice and slow, always just trying to get as much rotation as you can. You can do it from full dorsiflexion, it's gonna be tougher. Just think your foot rotates in, foot rotates out. Foot rotates in, foot rotates out. Very good, and then we'll switch. Side of your foot's on the floor, calf goes on top of that foot to elevate. If you have a yoga block, you can put that calf on top of the yoga block as well. Hold that leg in place, make sure nothing else moves except that ankle. Let's go 2 full ankle cars, so go in, always stay in, come up, dorsiflex, out, and down. You may get some cracks, you may get some pops. That's okay, mine are always crackling. Over the top, come out, squeeze for more. And let's reverse. Foot goes out, and up, and in, down, out, and up, in, and down. So we got some capsule cars there as well. So we have full plantar flexion. We just rotate in, rotate out. Foot may cramp here. That's just because it's never been in that position. Squeezing as hard before, that's okay. That's 2 there. Let's come halfway up. Foot rotates in, foot rotates out. Foot rotates in, foot rotates out. Last one, full dorsiflexion. Foot rotates in, it's called inversion. Foot rotates out into eversion. More in, squeeze, you feel the outer ankle work in there. And back out, and relax. Okay, last one we have is our toe cars. So if you've never done these before, this may be a challenge for you, that's okay. All we want to do is make sure we're just getting practice with it. The better your feet function, the better you're going to feel, okay? So we want to come up all the way, so we're going to splay those toes as much as possible. We're going to place them on the floor just like this. So we're going to press your 4 toes down, and you're going to lift just your big toe. So I'm just going to lift up with the big toe into what's called extension, and down. One more, big toe up, try to go straight up, try not to let them travel in, right? So straight up and down. If that's a challenge for you, you can always go 1 foot at a time, hold your 4 toes down, and then just lift the big toe. Next one, big toes will press down, and then we'll lift just the 4 toes. So we're just trying to lift the 4 toes without feet rotating in, right? So the balls of your toes will stay down. Lift your 4 toes, and down. Big toe down, and lift the 4 toes. And from here, we're gonna hold up, and now lift all toes again. We're trying to splay those toes. It's called toe abduction. We're trying to get as much spread as we can through the toes. Keeping them all up. Big toe down, big toe up. Big toe down, big toe up. And again, if it's tough for you, you can always just focus on 1 foot at a time. It'll be a little bit easier to kind of create that connection between your brain and your toes. Last one, we call it the piano key. So we're coming here, we're gonna splay all the toes. We're gonna think pinky toe, 4th toe, 3rd toe, 2nd toe, big toe. Let's go 2 reps here. So think big toes down, or little toes down, 4th toes down, 3rd toes down, 2nd toes down, big toe down. Last one, get a little bit more here. So spread those toes even more. Balls of your toes are down. Big spread here. Pinky toe, 4th toe, 3rd toe, 2nd toe, big toe. And I like to just kind of walk it out a little bit. Feet may be a little tight there. So that's all of our cars. So that was pretty much from neck all the way down to our big toes. We did our full cars, we did some capsule cars, half cars, quarter cars. So again, you can do the whole routine. That's you're gonna feel great, nice and loose. After you do that routine, you can take bits and pieces out of it before you do a particular workout, a particular activity. Again, the more cars we can get toward the end of the routine, the better. Your body will feel better, your joints will function better, you'll have more understanding, more awareness of how your body feels and functions on a day-to-day basis. Mornings are a great time to do that. Pre-workout, post-workout, before you go to bed, just trying to build in as much repetition as you can, and then playing at different positions like we did today. So thank you for joining me in today's class. That was our Cars 101. Hopefully that you got some good kind of tips and some lessons out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us here at Stretch Effect, and we'll be happy to help you out. Hope you have a good day, and do your cars.